Have you ever peed in your seat?
I tried once.
And you have just won an epic thing.
The winner this year and the guy who's going to drive our car next year as well is Joseph Loake.
And with that,
200 grand an F1 test.
how mental is it to you that you're next year going to be driving a Formula 1 car? They must prepare you before you get in a Formula 1 car.
I haven't really been told. I think I was 82 kilograms and I was 4'11".
Hi, and welcome back to Backseat Drivers Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Gustav Burton, and your co-host,
Jordan Albert.
We've now sort of worked it out. Abby's was filmed on, like,
Potato settings.
that's just turned off. Fantastic.
Internal temp high, allow it to cool.
Great. Oh, good. It
That's
needs to
fine.
be like a fist away from your mouth.
Oh, it needs to be
ideally.
like close to me.
So bring it. It's a bit of a dodgy little holder.
I've just moved the whole shelf.
it's on a really bad.
Is that
shelf.
fine now, yeah?
Yeah, that's fine. You can move it up a bit. It should like.
Mate, this is fucking nuts.
It should flex around a bit. Oh wait, hang on. It's gone limp.
There we go.
All right, okay. We are recording. Hang on. Wait. Clap again. I'm incapable of clapping, so I'm disabled.
What have you done?
Mate, I broke my wrist back in March.
March.
He's
and it's still
raced.
broken.
He's
So-
raced all year with this. by
Back
the
in
way.
March, I broke my wrist playing tennis against middle-aged women. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Backseat Drivers. Today we have the fabulous 18-year-old?
Yeah. that's the
18-year-old Joseph Loake.
one. Am I supposed to applaud myself?
Yeah, that's
you
fine.
can applaud yourself. Right, and you have just won an epic thing. Probably one of the most prestigious British awards you can win
Huge.
in motorsport. What is it? You give me the title because I don't know
Yeah,
what
no,
it is.
it's the Aston Martin. Aston Martin. I don't know. Aston Martin, the RDC Autosport Young Driver of the Year Award.
Yeah.
You probably should know it, but
No, he recited it to me perfectly outside. I think it's because he's now.
Yeah, I got it bang on before.
Yeah, you
I
did.
can't do it. It's the pressure.
So basically, an epic award, and with that, you've got at 18 years old. You've got what? Correct me if I'm wrong. £200,000.
Yeah. 200 grand an F1 test.
200 grand, an F1 test with the Aston Martin, Aramco, Cognizant, whatever Formula One team,
Yeah.
and I saw also on there there's a helmet and a helmet bag,
yeah,
which
yeah.
with the other two is pretty.
No, actually,
Unsubstantial.
the helmet bag's actually quite cool because it gets obviously you can't buy them, I don't think, so they only get given to the winner. But I can customize it to whatever I want, so it's not been built
Nice.
yet.
You're a good salesman. Sack off the F1 test and just
Yeah.
just
Just
keep
the
the
helmet
helmet.
bag. That's all I needed.
But how mental is it to you that you're next year? Is it this time next year ish going to be driving a Formula One car?
I actually don't know when it is. I haven't been told. I've
But it'll
told
be
that
next
it could
year.
be. Well, it might not be. I've been told it could either be like it could be 4 months away or something,
Oh really?
or it could even be like over a year. I don't know.
How much are
even
you
be
allowed
like
to
2
say? Do they give you like simulator testing or like they must prepare you before you get in a Formula One car?
I haven't really been told. If I'm quite honest, I just know that I'm going to get to drive an F1 car, which is pretty cool. I mean, not many people get to do it.
That's
so
ridiculous, mate.
yeah.
yeah.
When are you 19?
April.
Okay, so you're not even like
You're a kid.
you're
Yeah.
a kid, mate.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a huge award what you've just done. We were looking into obviously like the list of names that have won it before. You've got literally Jenson Button, Lando Norris, George Russell, Anthony Davis, and Jake Dennis. Now it's literally you on that list.
Yeah.
It's mad.
No, that's what I mean. It's like even though you get the F1 test and stuff like that, the amount of credibility that comes with the award is just nuts. Like, just having your name alongside.
No average
sort of
driver
names.
has won that award. But this is an award where only the best drivers. I mean, even previously, it's been Zach O'Sullivan, who I used to race with, and Fiesta Juniors, and Luke Browning.
Yeah.
And they're both now. Zach's just stepped up to F2. I don't know what Browning's doing next year. He's just won Macau.
Yeah, I
in
think he got announced today actually for F3 again, is it?
F3 again.
Yeah, with high tech.
Yeah, he's another
Yeah.
top talent, and he actually recently drove the F1
Yeah.
on the same
Yeah,
time period that you guys
yeah,
did your
he did the
shootout.
F1 test the day before we did our 2-day shootout.
Yeah.
So I turned up a day before and got to know all the judges. It's probably helped a little bit for the award. But yeah, I turned up a day earlier and watched the F1 car, and it's just crazy. Like,
Yeah.
you watch it from the stands and it looks quick, but you go and actually stand like in the pit lane on the entry of the pit lane on the outside, and you can see it come through the last corner, and it just the way it increases its speed is nuts. Like,
Is it still in like the old spec one, like the really high downforce, faster
the
one?
21 car, was
And that's the
what
car
Browning
you'll be
drove.
driving.
I don't know. I'm guessing it will be, but it could be the 22 car. I don't know. I would have thought it'd be the 21 though. I hope it is,
Yeah.
because that would be much more fun.
Well, like, explain a bit about the actual award. Like, what do you have to? One, how do you get on it? Like, how do you even get into the final? It's four drivers end up in like the shootout, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then what do you do on the shootout? Walk me through it.
Yeah, so you turn up. The drivers are supposed to be there on the first day where when Browning was driving the F1 car. We were all supposed to be there, but I think the other three were F3 testing in Imola, I think it was. So yeah, I turned up early, got to know everyone. Then the next day we were out in the F2 car at, I think it was 9:30 in the morning. They did 2 wet runs to start off with on wet tyres, even though it was dry, just to get us kind of up to speed. I think I ruined a set of tyres in, I think, half a lap.
Yeah.
From what I know, it was very, very close between us all.
Were you super nervy?
Yeah and no. Like the first...
It's a big deal. This
Yeah.
thing's a big deal for
You
you.
just
so-
stepped
Yeah.
from GB3. When did you find out that you were going on the final 4?
I was on a train on the way back from Zandvoort.
Oh, right,
for
okay.
GB3, yeah, when I found out. But no, I wasn't too nervous, to be fair. Like, I thought I would be more. Like,
You just thought it
turning
is
up
what it
and the
is.
pressure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think being there the day before, getting to know the judges actually quite helped, because I almost knew them a little bit already. And it just took that edge off trying to impress unknown people to people that I kind of know what they're looking for as well.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, kind of helped.
I always find that helps on a race weekend. I don't like rocking up there on Friday.
Yeah.
I get there on Thursday. You know, you see the whole event, you see all the trucks there. I think like even that just subtly is like a mental switch off.
Yeah.
You've already experienced it. You know where the track is. You know where your truck is. You know where the team is. You've talked about what the plan is for tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you just rock up on Friday, it's a bit like, oh, even though it's practice.
Oh, yeah, it is.
But anyway, hopping from a GB3 car into you chuck straight out on an old Formula 2 car
Yeah.
on wets on a dry track.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously the wet runs, like nobody really pushed too much just because it wasn't worth it. You know, basically one of the rules I was told, obviously it's not a strict rule, but if you spin or make a mistake or obviously crash, then you're pretty much out the award. So
That's pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
Like, because obviously you got to push to the limit while also not looping it, because if you loop it, you're done for.
They give you your own individual cars.
Yeah. So
So you've got 4 F4s.
Yeah.
Talk me through the cars that you drove on the day.
So it was the 4 F2 cars.
Yeah.
Then there was on the second day a GT3 car. I think it was a Beach Dean GT3 car. I think.
the Aston.
The Aston, and then and a United Autosports LMP3 Ligier.
Okay.
So
Nice cars.
yeah, good cars. Unfortunately, it was like mixed conditions when I was driving them both, so it was a bit
Right.
of one of those.
Are you
where
all
it
on
was
track
like,
at the same time to avoid especially in mixed conditions, because
Yeah.
you know you can go out after someone and it'll be a 10-minute gap and the
Exactly.
track's a second quicker or 2
Exactly,
seconds
yeah.
quicker.
And that's why it's good that they have 4 F2 cars.
And
So
they do put you all on track at the same time.
yeah, so they send us out with I think 15-second intervals.
Okay.
So that we're not near each other, or at least you'd hope we're not near each other, or otherwise one of us is quite far off the pace. But yeah, the car is so quick compared to a GB3 car. It was just unbelievable.
So after all that, you actually did perform clearly because you went on to win it.
Yeah.
That obviously the night at the Autosport Awards, take us through that. So you're waiting to hear the results. That is a nerve-wracking experience,
Yeah.
right?
mate.
Yeah.
Not knowing who's going to win. You've got all these motorsport legends around in the room with you, and then your name's called out.
Yeah.
Take us through that.
It was honestly the most nerve-wracking thing I think I've ever done. And I wasn't nervous leading up to it. Like I'd kind of put it to the back of my mind. I knew if I didn't win it, it's fine. Like it's not the end of the world. But then they did a little rehearsal before everyone came in and just showed us the stage and everything like that. And I was like, okay, this is quite a big deal. We did like a little rehearsal, just saw what we had to do. And at about 8:30, we had to go up on stage, all four of us, and they'd basically just announce our names, bring us out to the front, show us in front of everyone, and then we'd have to go back to our seats. And then we had a 3.5 hour wait until the actual award was called.
Oh, God.
So you can imagine, and we had to eat in that time as well.
No, you're not hungry,
You're
are
not
you?
hungry.
I wasn't hungry. I forced it down me because I love food. But, but no.
Were you just smashing beers? I would have been.
Well, I don't drink, but I'm sure you would have been. But yeah, and then you just sat there, just literally hands shaking. Your heart rates are like 180 for like 2 hours straight. And then it got to, we had a little brochure that said that our award was going to be announced between 11:03 and 11:06.
Yeah.
And it got to about 10:50, and I was like, right, we're going to be
This
nearly
is
there
it.
then.
Yeah.
Got to 11 o'clock. We're nearly there. 11:05, 11:10, 11:15. It just didn't get announced.
Oh, mate.
And it was so annoying because I knew it could be any time.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of leant back. I was like, well, I'm not bothered, am I?
Yeah, you are.
I am.
You're so bothered, mate.
But
Most
yeah.
bothered bloke.
Yeah, no, literally. And then, yeah, obviously my name gets called and my family erupts.
The winner this year and the guy who's going to drive our car next year as well is Joseph Loake.
You know what?
It's amazing
Crazy.
seeing family celebrate like that with people that are close to you is one of
Yeah.
the most special feelings you could ever have. That that was amazing to see.
We know how much it means to win stuff like that, or whether it be races, championships, awards like that. Unfortunately, I don't know what that feeling's like, but it's like so much time and effort and money and everything goes into racing from the family as well. And they all just sort of count on you. There's a lot of pressure you put on yourself. There's a lot of external pressure as well in racing. Must have been so relieving to hear that. Hello. Before you listen to the next interesting piece of information from whatever guest we currently have on, I'd like to inform you that this is not an advert, but if you'd like to become a racing driver, listen to Jordan Albert.
So if you want to become a racing driver like some of our lovely guests and you're not really sure how to start, because it seems like you need a lot of money and family connections that know the industry. Well, now you have the perfect opportunity to prove you have what it takes on a completely level playing field. That's why we've created Fiesta. Fiesta is an online platform that guides you on how to start your racing driver journey and helps you develop your skills to climb up the ladder. We host time attacks every single week, and if you're the fastest driver, we put you straight into a car and integrate you in an established esports team racing against some of the best talent in the world. So if you think you're the best thing since sliced bread and you have what it takes, make sure to sign up at ForsettiRace.com. Link is also in the description. Back to the podcast.
Did you have any inkling? They don't tell you anything before the awards night itself.
No.
So no one gets a
didn't
phone
know.
call.
I don't know how, but I did hear from a couple of people that I was one of the favourites for it. So I heard it was between me and Barnard before I went, but that was all I knew.
Right.
But I don't know how I'd heard that or who like.
But
who
that's just
from.
rumour as well,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. So I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
You just hear things, don't you?
Yeah.
Like rumours get passed around. And I tried so hard to try and figure out who'd won before. I was even asking the judges on the day because obviously the judges knew.
Yeah.
They're all there.
Do they cover up timings and stuff on your... Because you got deltas like in the car. You can see your lap times.
Yeah.
Do they cover it up?
We can see our own, but we can't see anyone else's.
But do you go to each other afterwards? Are you like, what time do you do?
Yeah, but then we
No,
didn't tell
no
each
one
other.
would. Yeah. But you wouldn't want it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was at the end of the 2 days, me, Voicing and Barnard were stood like in a kind of three, and we were just chatting about like just how cool it was to be here, stuff like that. And we tried to get little things out of each other just to see just to see what we did, stuff like that, just to try and compare ourselves. We weren't giving anything away. We all know what we're doing.
Yeah.
That sort of
So
stuff.
you not try and mess with them and just go like 5 seconds lower than what you actually did, and be like, yeah, well, I was on for this, and then I screwed it up, and then I only got like a 104.
No.
Or something. I would have done that.
Yeah, same.
Just made them. I would have done that on the first
I had a
session,
really
so that they would have
difficult
gone.
session.
Yeah, so they would have gone out for the rest of the day and been like, "How the hell has he done that?"
No, so I actually did the opposite. I said that I'd
Well, you
done
said you were
worse.
slow.
I said I'd done worse than what I did, so I said I kept making mistakes on my laps. Yeah, I the mind game side of things, it's like they're fun to play, but they're not that useful, are they? Really? In the end?
No,
Sometimes
not
it can
really.
really backfire.
I mean, if you look at the best, like people like Michael Schumacher or whatever, and Lewis Hamilton, they subtly do things
Yeah,
to mess with the competition.
yeah,
I can't give you an example, but they would do like the most subtle things psychologically to their competitors to make them either feel too confident or like belittled by them and angry at them, because they know what would anger them.
yeah.
Yeah.
But-
I think Nico Rosberg actually said it in.
Oh,
an
Nico
interview.
was good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was actually about Schumacher, and that they'd both go to the toilet just before a qualifying session. And I think Nico said something like,
I've seen that. Yeah.
yeah, something like Schumacher would just stay in the toilet until last second, so that Rosberg couldn't go
Like
before
10,
qualifying
10 minutes before they got in the car, he would just go in the toilet
and just stay
because
there.
he knew Rosberg's routine.
Yeah.
I think he did it in Monaco or something. He
Yeah,
just
something like that.
Sat in the toilet, and that's when Schumacher had a really good weekend as well for Mercedes when he came back to F1. He just sat in the toilet and waited. Literally, like Rosberg said, "Is like I guarantee he was doing nothing, just looking at his watch the whole
Yeah.
time, waiting because he knew he'd have to get in the car." And he said he had to like do a wee
Yeah.
into a tire outside the garage.
I'm going to do that to all my British GT
But that
competitors
would-
next year.
that would, well, you'd just be doing it to your own teammate.
Yeah.
But that would mess with you,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
It would.
Because you like before you get in the car, everything's always stressful, and you think like, right, I need
Yeah.
to. And also, I feel like every driver has this. I definitely do. I'll go to the toilet just before I get in the car, sit on the grid, and I'm desperate. So
Yeah.
I feel like I've just had like 3 liters of beer.
Have you ever peed in your seat?
No, no.
Some people
I
have.
did
There's
once.
some freaks out there.
There's
Some
loads of
have.
people that
I
have.
don't know how.
A couple of years, Joseph, in F2, you can maybe try it. Like,
Yeah, give it a go. Let us know what it's like, mate.
Yeah, I won't be, but I don't know how though. I tried once. 'Cause I had a red flag that was like an hour long when I was in Dubai. I was racing out there in start of 22.
Yeah.
And we had a red flag for like an hour, and we weren't allowed to get out of the car because we didn't know how long it would be. And they kept saying 5 minutes, whatever. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I was desperate for the whole hour, and I tried, and I just physically couldn't pee. It was like,
I don't think I can
it
make
was
myself.
so bad.
I'm going to just try it next year.
What now?
Yeah, why not?
I would get it in
I
like
already have.
in a 24-hour race. You've done it now.
I'll put it up after.
I would understand in like a 24-hour race, but then you imagine you've got to hand over the car to someone else.
Yeah.
There you go, mate. There's your pissy seat, also covered in sweat. So where are we going from here, Joseph?
Yeah. What's the plan?
What's the plan?
What do you mean? Next year?
In the future, I mean, like, how are we going to see you in F1? Yeah, what are the steps? Obviously, like, this awards have seen so many drivers
Yeah.
make it to F1, and we want to see you there, obviously. Like, what are the steps, do you think? Hard to really know.
Well, I mean, the logical steps are F3, F2, F1. That's kind of what everyone plans on doing.
And the wall in front of you is cash.
Yes,
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think I'd be racing up until February this year in GB3. Now the budget is better. It's not much better, but it is better with obviously the extra cash that's come in. So, you know,
But as a winner of that as well, not only do you obviously get that 200,000,
yeah,
which, by the way, viewers or listeners, that is a very small dent in an FIA F3 budget. You know, we're talking millions here.
yeah,
And Formula 2, whatever. But that award puts you on the map, doesn't it? It does. It gives you so much credibility. If you go to a team and you say, I've won this award, you know, what drivers won that award? I said it earlier. What drivers won that award that hasn't been a talent?
yeah. No, 100%. And, you know, the names on there show it. But, you know, it does have a lot of credibility to it, but that does only get you so far at the end of the day. And the money still has to come from somewhere. It's something I'm working on big time because I really do want to get myself into Formula 3.
Yeah.
Be that this year or next year. But you know, we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah.
in your position, if money was no object, you'd think, right, it's time for
Yeah.
FIA F3.
100%. Yeah,
It's time
I'd go straight away in a heartbeat.
I think the sad thing about our sport now is that no matter how good you are, most 80% of the time you'll be kicked off for someone that can bring more cash.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the way it is. Unless you're completely revolutionary and 4 tenths up the road on literally everyone,
Yeah.
you know, you've got no chance really. Obviously, there's always ways around it, and I'm probably at a point now where I can make a living off racing eventually, just purely because of this award and obviously GB3. But the goal's still F1. Like it doesn't change that, and until there's 0% chance of making F1, then I'll keep trying as much as I can, and it's the same for everyone in my kind of position.
Yeah, we're rooting for you, mate. We're rooting for you.
Yeah,
it'd be amazing to see you there. But
I'd love to be there.
we're gonna take it back. So obviously next year you're gonna be testing an F1 car. 3 years ago, and you were in Fiestas.
Yeah, as a little tubby,
Ford Fiestas.
4 foot, whatever I was.
Yeah. So
no.
where did it all start? What made you get into racing? Like, how did it come about?
Yeah, so I was a late starter. Well, compared to some, I think just under 11 years old. I think I was late ends of 10, and I started just go-karting with my dad, just at the rental go-kart place. Nothing crazy, just had a bit of fun and enjoyed firing my dad into a wall, really.
That's nice.
But then, his back didn't appreciate it, but then,
it's a lovely thing you did there.
and then, just started racing. My high school had a kart club associated with it, so I joined that. Just started racing here and there.
Your school had a kart club associated.
What?
Yeah.
Why didn't my fucking school have a kart club? I would have bossed that.
Yeah, so it was.
Although
it
I was
like,
pretty chunky when I was 11.
Yeah.
So was I.
I was a meatball.
We saw. But you're also tall.
Jordan,
and I'm not.
Yeah, but you saw on like Epps posted Mike Epps,
Your coach.
and you know him quite. Yeah, you know him. Well, he's got a coach.
Yeah.
He did a post saying like, what was it? Like 2 years ago, you lost 20 kg to
Yeah, I
get
did.
a F4 car.
Yeah.
Talk us through that.
So I was. What was I? I think I was 82 kilograms, and I was 4'11" when I finished. When I finished racing in 2020, and when I won the championship in Fiestas.
Right. Okay.
And then Stephen Hunter from JHR, he got me on the simulator at JHR, and he, I think I beat Abby Pulling straight away. Her lap times on the sim.
Yeah.
I think
Shout
on the
out to
first
Abby.
day.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah,
to
shout
Abby.
hi Abby. Then, I mean, it's obviously only the sim. So Steve was like, right, let's get you in the car as Netters. And I rolled into the car as a bowling ball. And obviously now I'm friends with a lot of the mechanics. Obviously, I've been with them for 3 years, so I know them really well now. And they were saying when I first got into the car, they found it hilarious because I was
They can say that now.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the time, they can't be like,
yeah,
that's funny.
They were saying that they were actually having to walk out the back of the garage while I was getting into the car because they were laughing so hard.
Wait, but sorry, I'm not taking the piss, but how heavy were you?
I was
4'11".
Yeah, I was 82 kilos.
Yo,
Mate, I'm like 86.
Yeah,
I'm 6'4".
imagine being half your height. Imagine being half your height and still being that weight.
Wow, you've
I
done
was probably
amazing.
wider than I was tall.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Steve said, look, you've decently quit. I think I was 6/10 off what the quali times were in my first day in the F4 car. I was probably about 10 kilos overweight as well.
Wow.
So Steve...
It makes a huge difference in single seaters.
It does, yeah.
Because the cars
massively.
only weigh, what, 500 kg or something? 600
I think
kg?
that F4 car was 560 or something like that.
So
without
if
driver.
you're 80, you're well over, what, almost 20% of the weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had to get to work. Yeah. If you wanted to race that.
Yeah, big
Which you
time.
did.
So, yeah, exactly. And Steve said, look, you've got to be 64 kilos by the time I next see you, otherwise you're not racing. And I was like, okay.
64 from 82.
Yeah. Which is obviously
And what time frame?
18 kilos. And I had 4 months.
Wow.
Jesus.
So I was like, right, here we go then.
And
so
you're what, 16? 15?
I would have
16?
been 15 at the time.
Okay.
So obviously I'm growing a lot. So it was quite easy to lose the weight in a way, but I still had to
Well,
really,
it's easy to look slimmer. The same thing happened to me. It's easy to look slimmer, but your weight actually doesn't go down.
yeah,
That's the problem. Like because I had a bit where like I was taller than everyone else, and then it just stopped from like when I was 13 to like, or 12 to 14 or something. And I had 2 years of being like a bit of a fatty.
yeah.
And then I like shot up to literally my height now, and then everything just sort of stretched out. And then I went to the gym and whatever. But you're still a lot heavier than you were before. So
Yeah.
that to lose 20 kg whilst you're growing as a 15-year-old, because
Yeah.
you're not 4'11" anymore.
Well, thank God. Otherwise, I'd be a bit worried. I don't think my girlfriend would like it. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I had the 4 months, and I ended up at my absolute lowest. I was 58 kilos when I in the
Jesus.
middle of the F4 season, because I kind of got a bit carried away and just kept losing weight because I was like, oh, I'm seeing.
But I think
once
once you start to see like the weight dropping off, and you look better, you do get a bit addicted to it.
Yeah, it got to the point where I was losing over a kilo a week.
Yeah.
And it was just like every week I would look in the mirror and I'd be like slimmer every time.
What did you do to do that? How did you achieve that in
So-
4 or 5 months?
I purely ate meat. The only thing I ate was meat.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and a bit of veg here and there. I was really unhealthy. It was not good for me at all. I was getting ill quite easily just because of how low my immune system was. So I would never advise anyone to do it. Like it was...
But I think if you do this, because it's actually a thing, like the carnivore diet, and I tried it for a bit, and I dropped weight. It's difficult to keep up though, because you
Yeah.
can't even have, if you're doing like a proper carnivore diet, you can't have any carbs, which is like no bread, no, even like
Yeah,
apples
exactly.
have carbs in them. Like
Yeah,
it's so difficult. But I did feel good when I was doing it, because one, you feel full all the time. There's not actually that much calories in meat, but you feel good all the time.
No,
My
you
energy
can eat
levels,
so much of it.
yeah,
Like you can just eat.
whenever
and
you're
eat,
hungry,
it's
you
fine.
just like have a steak.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah,
And also, your body has to work so hard to break it down that you burn a lot of calories. So I'm getting really randomly like scientific. I don't know what I'm talking about really, but I felt really good, and your energy levels stay really similar because you don't have sugar highs and lows from
Yeah.
carbs and whatever. That's really interesting.
I don't know. I got to the point where I was eating that little that I never really felt hungry. It was. I'd say you're probably bordering on like anorexia kind of side of it.
Yeah.
Which obviously is completely different and much worse. But like, yeah, it got to the point where I just didn't feel hungry ever.
You get into like a bit of a body dysmorphia as well, I think.
Yeah.
Which like everyone gets. Like I think as soon as I was in like serious shape at like 17, where I had like proper 6-pack, no fat on me at all, like ripped for my age, mate. I was like 6'4", ripped.
Yeah.
But I was 77 kg at 6'4", which wasn't like super healthy. But then even then, I still looked at myself like this could be slightly better. Like this could be better, that could be better. And I think like as you start to drop weight, you get like addicted with it. I was never fat, but I was like a skinny fat. Like I was just like
Yeah.
lanky, but had a bit of chub on me, but like didn't look great. Do you know what I mean? So I started smashing gym at like 16. But you get into this cycle of like, okay, it's better, and I'm happy about that, but it's not good enough.
Yeah, I just knew that if I didn't lose the weight, then I wouldn't get to race in F4.
Yeah.
It was, you know, when you're that age and you get told that you could race in F4, it was such a big, like, motivation for me. I was like, because I remember watching F4 the year before and I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. And then I was like, oh, it could actually happen. I've got to make it happen.
So you go from Fiesta Juniors to F4.
Yeah.
How do you go from Fiesta Juniors to Formula 4?
So the budget for us was really good because JHR obviously are always the cheapest team. So we got that year for 180 in F4.
But always competitive as well.
Yeah.
Which is impressive.
Yeah. No, that's what JHR are good at. They put a really good car on the ground and don't play around with all the fancy stuff. So like, you know, we'll turn up with a truck that's 20 years old.
Yeah.
And we'll roll the cars out the back of it and they look pristine. And
well, that's what matters, isn't it?
Exactly,
Everything else is for show.
And that's what I like about Steve. He's just northern. Like
Yeah.
he's like, right, we want a quick car. We don't care about anything else. So
Yeah.
we put a quick car on the ground, and that's that.
Nice.
He puts good people around the car to make sure that it never breaks down. There's never any problems with it. And the thing is just a rocket ship. And our car in that year was quick. Like we locked out the front two rows in the first round.
What was the plan? Did you have does your family have a background in racing? Because mine is very similar, if not, because my dad is very supportive always, like always wanted me to do whatever I wanted to do. And he was always there to support me through it financially, emotionally,
Yeah.
through, you know, even today he does so much for me in terms of, you know, all the boring businessy side of things of racing and negotiating contracts and whatever. But yeah, what was the plan? What's your background? Did anyone race? Is anyone interested in racing?
No, not really. Like I say, the only interest I had in motorsport was from rental karting with my dad, and we only did that for fun because we were just like, it might be a bit of a laugh one day, and then we started doing it every other week. So, you know, I never was pushed into it, even when, you know, I said I wanted to start racing. It was like, okay, we'll do it as much as we can, and we didn't have that much money at the time. We still don't now. You know, we have enough to race, but we're talking like, we have to put extensions on hold, things like that, just to be able to afford the season. So we're putting everything we can into it.
Yeah.
And that's something I will forever be grateful to my family for, because they've always put 110% behind me.
Yeah.
Even when it doesn't look likely or something like that. Even last year, halfway through the year, and we were P8 or something like that in the standings, and the car was a second off, they just stuck by it. And I knew that we needed to stick by it till the end of the year, because I felt that it could get better, and it did. And they stuck by me. My family never doubted me for 1 second, and I don't think they ever will. So
It's a really cool story, great journey. Like,
Yeah.
and it shows that, you know, because people getting into this space, into racing, think, right, I want to make F1. I need to go karting for 10 years at the highest level in Europe and race with the best teams,
Completely
etc.
pointless. Yeah.
And what's amazing with you is you've got into racing through Fiestas, as you've said, a bowling ball.
Yeah. Right, exactly, yeah. And the amount of money I'll have saved by just doing that as well. Because obviously you can spend $500,000 on karting easily in world karting. And that was why we didn't do it, because we
There's
were
no
like, well,
point.
we could spend 250 grand on racing some little go-kart, or we could race this big car on British circuits.
For a fraction of the price.
Yeah, exactly.
And you learn so much more. Racing cars is very different to racing go-karts.
Yeah.
And you see that, like, some people, it doesn't translate.
Yeah.
Some people you see, a lot of people will have like stupid budget behind them. They'll do go-karting. They'll be amazing in go-karting. And then they'll go, because they've done loads of testing, they do chassis, tyres, whatever. They've got everything to their disposal. And then they go into single-seaters. They've got 40 test days. They've got this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And you can't compete with it. It's very difficult to compete with it. But some people, it doesn't translate. Like, I know, I'm not going to name them and embarrass them, but I've raced against people that were world champion karters, and they're just not, it doesn't translate into it, because a car requires a different kind of finesse.
Yeah, it does.
Karting's super competitive and really difficult, but it's a really different world to driving a car. But is the plan Formula 3 next year then? FIA F3, all being well.
If we find the money, yes.
How much are we talking for a Formula 3 season? I know ballpark.
Yeah.
But I know as well, if you're a bit of a nobody, let's say,
Yeah.
no offense to some people, obviously not going to name any names, but if you're a bit of but if you're a bit of a nobody trying to get into FIA F3, you're going to be quoted over £1 million.
Easily, yeah. You know, you're talking 1.5 really for F3. Of course, it's slightly easier for me. I mean, it's not easy, don't get me wrong.
No.
But it's easier because I can get and have had a couple of offers that are under.
Well, you've got the CV to prove yourself.
Exactly, and I have had the odd offer here and there, and I've been getting good deals for next year. But it's still a lot of money.
It's hard to sell sponsors.
Exactly.
That's the problem with racing. I do think, like, every off season, I find myself, I mean, especially recently, I won't lie, my parents helped me a lot, obviously, in the early years of racing, because until you've proved yourself, you don't get discounted deals. No. You don't get people wanting to, you know, invest in you to have you in their team to win a championship. You have to pay the full whack up till then. But the last 3 years of my racing career have been funded by sponsors.
Yeah.
And, like, luckily, the years in Porsche GB, or sort of last year and this year, have been secure-ish, because I've had a 2-year deal with a sponsor. But now that's ended again. Yeah. And I find myself in the off-season having, like, a turbulent year. I did well in Porsche GB. I had a really up and down year in Porsche Super Cup, which is ridiculously tough. It's like go-karting in Porsches. But
Yeah, I've heard that.
yeah, it's so you need to have a budget again of over $1 million. You need to do 40 test days or 20 test days in Carrera Cup Germany and Super Cup, which Porsche Super Cup, by the way, if you don't know what it is, it races on the Formula One weekend, similar to F3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do question like why do we do this?
Yeah.
Like you get to every off season, and again I think motorsport is coming back into a golden age.
Yeah.
It's coming back into sponsors are genuinely interested now. Manufacturers are coming into it. And we're not just talking F1. I mean, in my realm is GT racing, and Jordan's realm is also GT racing. But you come to every off-season and it's stressful. You can't commit to a team unless you've got the money, and sponsors won't commit to you unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm in at the moment as well.
Yeah.
But we all are, at the end of the day. All of us are trying to scrape around for whatever we can get. And some of us are a lot more privileged than others, which really annoys me because, like, you obviously, again, not naming names, but you can have it. Oh, I've just hit your mic.
That's all right.
It just makes it
I'll
really...
just ruin the whole room.
We've got a nice bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of these decorations aren't ours, I'll admit.
A saw, if you want to cut some wood.
By the way, that's not like secured into the wall, so don't go near it. So this room was just an office. Like, that's how it always is.
Yeah.
But those lights arrived about 4 hours ago.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, I guess.
Right there, mate.
Sorry.
Also, I'm sorry, Chloe and Abby, but you were filmed in some random settings. We've now sort of worked it out. Abby's was filmed on, like...
Potato settings.
That's just turned off. What does that say?
I don't even
it's just
know.
gone.
It said battery exhausted.
Oh, we didn't plug it back in.
I like, whoa.
Yeah, there's people that
Well, so
do
you
that,
can just
don't
hear
they? There's
this.
people, yeah.
There's people that do that, mate, on TikTok Lives. You know when I was creating our... Stop. Press record.
There we
Right,
go.
we're back.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, going back to my fire story.
Yeah, right. Hang on. Just elaborate on what you just said.
So we were just showing our previous guest to Joseph, Chloe Grant, who was in a fire accident.
She was in a fire, full stop.
yeah.
And
in a car.
story.
Yeah, in a car. And I wanted to talk about my fire story.
Right, you talk about your fire story,
Okay,
mate.
so story
Go for
time.
it.
So Fun Cup, it's like a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah.
And we were at Brands Hatch. And
On the Indy.
on the Indy circuit,
Absolutely.
amazing circuit, one of the best. So
Epic.
good. So
I had
good.
the best moment in the KA there. I don't know if you've seen that. I'll show you that later, mate.
Yeah, you'll have to show me.
We'll overlay that at some point.
Yeah, overlay that now. That is unbelievable. Anyway, carry on.
So back to the Fun Cup story. So this thing's made out of all sorts of fiberglass and stuff. And going through turn 2, anyone that's driven Brands Hatch Indy, turn 2's Druids. It's a long right. And
Long? Tight.
long right. Anyway,
Right.
all of a sudden, the car's full of smoke.
Fantastic.
What? You're just driving?
So it's in the middle.
You didn't crash?
No crashing. No, I'm too talented for that. No crashing.
Right, okay.
What
Didn't
position were you?
crash. Towards the back.
Yeah.
No, zero talent. Anyway, so car's all of a sudden full of smoke at the apex of turn 2. I'm thinking, I'm in a bit of a situation here. Okay, so I'm like, right, this is my first fire. I don't know what, it could be a fire. I don't know what to do. But yeah, literally just lit up in flames. I'm thinking, damn, like, what do I do? So I pull up to the marshal post, and yeah, literally the guy comes out, extinguisher. But I wasn't that, to be honest, a fire in the car is not actually as scary as people think, because you're so focused on actually driving as well as you can and trying to get yourself out of a situation. You're not thinking, wow, I could really get hurt here.
No.
Plus, you're covered in fireproof equipment anyway.
I think as racing drivers, we train ourselves to just like, crashing's normal. You feel invincible.
Yeah, you do a little
Which is
bit.
when it's a shock when something actually happens and you hear in like the news or on Instagram or whatever that someone's died and whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to butt in, but Could you zoom in the camera? This is already fantastic. Welcome to Backseat Drivers.
Internal temp high, allow it to cool.
Great. Oh, good. You could just pick up that camera vlog style. Because we're... The camera's died on the other one. Hi. Hi. And welcome to Backseat Drivers. Right, so basically, situation update. That camera's overheated somehow and is dead, and I'm hoping it's stored. What are you filming now? Right, anyway, we've talked about crashing. We've talked about Joesph winning the Autosport Award. We've talked about... What else have we talked about? We talked about budgets. We've talked about all the normal issues in racing. I think we're done, aren't we? But no, thank you so much for coming on. This was about 4 hours notice before you came on.
Yeah.
But Joseph Loake, everyone, thank you so much. There you go. Have you got an ending statement? Go on.
Nice to see you all. I can't believe what you're doing. Nice to see you all. Fantastic. Keep watching. Watch other podcasts.
What? Other videos of our podcast.
Yeah, no.
Not just other podcasts.
Watch more Backseat Drivers podcasts. There we go.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for watching. See you later.
Bye.